I don't really think there's many announcements. Just make sure you know pumpkin spice. If you didn't get it yesterday, we haven't been notified from corporate that it's sold out, so it's still there. You can continue sharing about it, talking about it. Most of them shipped out pretty quickly, which is awesome. So hopefully you should have it soon. And there shouldn't be any issues with that, and you can start talking about it more. But make sure you're still sharing about it on social media and stuff with your customers because it is still available. MBF packs 160. I know we've talked about that, so I don't really need to touch on that again. And I don't think there's really any other announcements this week. Pretty chill week. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get right over to Abby. Okay, let me see. See if you can accept that. Good. Okay. So I'm super excited. Abby is a fellow Beatnik coach, which is awesome. She started coaching in June of 2018. She is a Success Club All-Star, which means she has hit Success Club consecutively for at least 12 months, which is awesome. She is a lifetime 3-star diamond coach. She's been rocking this year, and she already has locked in. Her team is already locked in Premier for 2021, and I'm sure they are working their way up to Elite, and that is on the goals. But she is killer, and I know even just a couple weeks ago, I think it was Kyra who was talking to us on Team Call and was talking about, you know, branding yourself and social media and having this presence other than just Beachbody. And for me, that was something that I actually struggled hardcore with when I first started coaching. I would like blast workouts, Beachbody, pretty much every post. We used to post sometimes 3 times a day. So 3 times a day, I was blasting Beachbody. And so finding this brand and really figuring out what else you can share about, what else can you talk about, letting people know your life and who you are and all of that is really, really important. So I wanted to bring on a speaker this month to our call to talk about that, especially because we do have a lot of newbies. So as you're building, you want to make sure you're figuring out that brand. And Abby does an awesome job of this. Her Instagram is awesome. Her social media is awesome. So without any other whatever, I don't know, my brain just went blank. I'm turning it over to you. I'm muting myself. You go, Abby. Go for it, girl.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited for tonight's call. When Morgan asked me to talk about this, I was honestly kind of like, I don't know if this is like my strong suit. And then I did a brain dump session and I was like, I am so excited about this because I feel like for me personally in my business, I've been able to kind of change and shift some things in the past couple of weeks that I think are going to be super beneficial to you because I'm a dog mom. I'm not a mom. I don't really have like exciting stuff going on in my life. And so I think for me for a while, I was like, well, I don't know what to share about. And so tonight I'm going to teach you specifically how to bridge the gap, what you actually feel, and helping your followers actually feel connected to you without talking about yourself all day. So if you're so excited, I am going to share my screen and then we will get started. So tonight you are going to be learning how to stir the pot in your business to be you and actually provide specific value to your ideal client. Because here is the honest truth. I love the commission, right? Getting a new person on, you're like, yes, Success Club points and we got $50. But if they're not your ideal person, then it really there's no connection there. And that person is probably going to fall off because you aren't really in the same boat. And I've been there before. And so I want you to be able to walk in on your stories every single day and say, okay, I'm talking to this person and I'm not talking about myself, because your ideal client, they need to hear some things that you've already experienced that you think are just normal, but they actually need to hear it over and over and over again. So before we get started, this is just a little bit about me and who I am and where I came from. 2 years ago, you would have found me in a kindergarten classroom. I was in the top district of North Texas, and I really thought that it was like the dream job, right? I started teaching first grade my first year, and I was starting my second year of teaching. And honestly, if you would have talked to me 2 years ago, you would have been talking to a girl who went home after work and had severe panic and anxiety attacks. I actually had kind of a flare up a couple of weeks ago, and it brought me back to who I was on a weekly basis. I mean, there were zero boundaries in my life, if we're just being completely honest. And if you are even close to a Raising Cane's, like that was my go-to, like 2 or 3 times a week. And my husband worked night shift as a nurse in the ICU. So I would come home from work, right, at 4:30. My husband would wake up because he was sleeping all day, and then he would go to his job at 5:30 to get into traffic to go downtown to Fort Worth and work his job all night. He would come home, but whenever he would come home, I would already be gone. Like I would already have left for my teaching job that day. And it was the hardest season of my life. It was our first year of marriage. So I was like, I had gained 15 pounds. I was having panic and anxiety attacks. I was not the person that was like, oh, we got married, our life is fantastic. Like I was struggling and praying a lot, and it was just a really hard season. So I knew about Beachbody in college. I actually did 21 Day Fix my junior year, and I got results on a college budget. And so whenever I needed to rewind and get started on my journey, I decided that I would just go back to Beachbody and see if it was going to work for me again. And I decided to sign up for the workouts and to sign up as a coach. And literally ever since then, I have been just gung ho, like, this is what I want to do. Whatever it is, I want to help other women that struggle with anxiety and panic attacks. And I want to be there for those tired teachers and those tired wives. And so that's a little bit about me. I cannot believe that our team has grown to the capacity that it has, but I want you to know that literally there's moments, and even this week there's moments where I'm like, am I really am I good enough for this, right? And so team calls are so important for you to be on every single week because you get that fire lit back in you. So if you're going through something like that, or if you have been in the business for a couple of years and you're like, I feel so boring, I don't even know what to post about anymore. Like I have literally posted about it all, and it feels like a freaking dry river. Like I have no idea what to do. So you probably see coaches that look like this, right? They have their ring light. They're like, oh my gosh, my husband's home. He's taking pictures of me. Like it's great. But, they're just so amazing at their content. Their photos are super clean, all of that stuff. But you probably are feeling this way. You probably feel like this. You're like, okay, I have on my outfit. I'm ready to go. We have our $5 ring light, which is what I have, like we're about to do this. So let's photo. And then you're like, oh my gosh, no one cared about what I posted, right? Or you post something that you're super passionate about and you're like, hey, sorry, I love gifts so much. You're like, hey, where are my people? Like no one's like responding. It's like, do they even know who I am? I want to be funny, but no one cares. Or you might be like this, like you're telling me to post on social media, but I am not going to freaking do that. Like not in any hour, 30 minutes, like I'm not doing it. Don't look at me. Your teacher's like, hey, you need to post on social media every single day of the week. And you're like, I'm not doing it. So tonight, I'm going to tell you and show you how to be your authentic self and be able to show up, maybe not as the ring light girl, but like show up confident. So I kind of did a poll on my stories yesterday. And I said, tell me what irritates you the most about social media. And this is what I got. The majority of the responses said this, that people are annoyed that they're getting random messages from people that don't follow them, right? This is like business 101. Like, we don't do that. I know you guys don't do that. But they're annoyed that they get messages from random people. People are also getting messages because they feel like there's an alternative motive to them, and people don't like that. Like that's an immediate unfollow. And then also people hate coming to social media to see negativity or complaining. And I think we can all relate to that, especially right now with what's going on in the world. And so I want you to think about like the energy that you have when you come on your stories. And I'm not saying to show up and be like, oh my gosh, my life is perfect. But I think that whenever you sign up to be a coach, you decided that you would go through crap and you would learn about it, journal about it, pray about it, whatever you needed to do, and then talk about what happened after you went through that and have content and value that you can share with people to help them go through what they are going through. So you might feel right now, you might feel stuck trying to show your true colors of who you are without being a Beachbody billboard. Let me know in the chat if you have ever felt this way, if you felt like, oh my gosh, like I feel stuck really on what to share. I'm not really sure how to share my Energize, or like I'm not really sure how to share my Shakeology. I don't want to be the billboard girl. I want to be true to me. Okay. Here is some hard truth that I have had to learn, and that I hope can encourage you to create content and to show up on your stories talking about that person. So what I have realized as I've started to learn about what I like on social media, I love going to pages where people teach me something, like a mini training, like here, as a salesperson, this is what you can do today to grow your sales or to grow in communication. And whenever we start every single video with the same words, like, hey friends, like happy blah blah day, like, whatever, people get actually bored with that. And so whenever you go on your stories tomorrow, I want you to start your story or start whatever you're trying to say with a question, or like you might have felt this way too, something like that, to instantly engage your follower, because we are used to TikTok now, right? Like we are on like a 15-second get my attention or we're out. And so I want you to try to think about that, being vulnerable, sharing your life, but not feeling like you have to show every moment of your day to provide value to your ideal client. I actually created a post about this that was so freeing, and I'm posting it later on this week. But I was like, you know what? As a believer, I really enjoyed posting my devotionals every single day. But honestly, if I'm being honest, I felt like posting my devotional was like a checkbox. Like, oh, I have to post my devotional today on my stories because I want my ideal client to know that I love Jesus, and that if they want to do this with me, that I would encourage them in their faith. And I have to stop myself right there, because there are business owners that are freaking crushing their business outside of Beachbody that don't share their devotional every single day. But I know that they have that as part of their belief system. but they don't have to share about it every single day. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you can change it up every single day if you want to. You don't have to post your devotional. You don't have to post your energized routine every day. You don't have to do all of these things every single day, because you want people to come to your stories and be like, ooh, what's she going to share that's new today? What is she going to share that's different? And so, what do you like to see? I'd love to see it in the chat. Like, if you are someone who likes to see people talk about their life on stories, then you might want to do that more on your stories. So tell me what you like to see on your stories or on other people's stories. Awesome.
Do you want actual feedback right now?
What?
Like, was that a question? I'm not being rude. Was that a question you want us to share, or?
Oh, in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you have questions at the end, you can ask. Yeah, okay. So here's the thing is, some of you like the day to day, and you can see that in top coaches, right? Some of the top coaches, they just share their life. They don't share their energized routine. They don't have to share all of these things. But for me, I love going on people's stories and learning something, like infographics, things like that. I am totally into right now. And so I've kind of transitioned my content to be more like that, because if I like that, then I want to post more things about that to fit my ideal person. So one last thing before we move on to the next part of kind of identifying your value that you have, there's two different things that I want you to understand about showing up and having this business, is director and creator. Okay, I think a lot of us feel like we always have to be in director mode, which means sending out invites, messaging and talking about objections and things like that, and just always being in that like executive CEO mindset. And that is good. Like, we have to have the director mindset in our business. But I think some of us forget about the creator, about things that we can do and create, whether that is a video or whether that is a post or whether that is learning about something that you've wanted to learn about, whether it's marketing or different things like that. I want you to be able to give yourself freedom to have that creator time for your business, because here's what's going to happen. When you give yourself time to actually truly believe in your personal development and write it down, you're going to think of a post. You're going to think of a video. You're going to think of a story that you can share to help someone that is watching you that day. Okay? Second thing, let me know in the chat if you are feeling burnt out because you're tired about just sharing about your life and about your go-go juice. Just being honest. If it's no, that's great. But if it is yes, then that's kind of what I've gone through recently. Hopefully it can help you. You're like, hello, happy Tuesday. This is my go-go juice. I do it every single day and I love it. And I'm about to do my workout. So, we've all gotten into that routine. But I want to tell you something. This is going to help you if you're feeling burnout right now, okay? Number one, our stories don't always have to be about us. Whenever I go on my stories, and I've tried to make it a point this whole entire week, is like, don't even ask, say, you are probably going through this right now. You are probably waking up, you have no idea how to get your morning started, and I'm about to show you how you can create a morning routine. That person is like, holy cow, yes, I'm a teacher, I'm stressed out, I'm a mom, I have no idea how to create a morning routine, I've tried and failed. So instead of being like, oh my gosh, look at me, look at my morning routine, say, this can help you. You can have a morning routine by doing X, Y, Z. 3 steps, 3 to 5 things to help someone do something. So 1, get to the point when you speak. There are 4 Instagram little bubbles for a reason. Same thing with voice messages. Like, I try to get every single thing in a voice message on Instagram in 1 minute. So if someone says something and I message them back, I'm like, hey, you know what? I see you. I understand what you're going through. Why is that important to you right now? What's really cool is that with my boot camp groups, we actually focus on morning routines. We focus on these daily things. Does this sound like something that could benefit you? Bam. It turns it back to them. It's less than a minute. They don't have to know all of the details because they're focused on themselves. You're focused on yourself, right? Like, you don't care if this water bottle has this perfect kind of like silicone plastic and like this cute little gold knob thing. Like, you don't care about it. You care about what it's going to do for you, which is, it's cute. It's going to help me drink more water, right? So focus on that as well in your DMs. So like I said, people are selfish. We are selfish, right? I am super selfish. I want to know what's in it for myself whenever I go to someone's stories or I go to someone's post. I want to say, okay, can I get something from this? Like, how can this help me right now? And I know that you could do this with your, let's say, a meal recipe or something like that. Or if you do want to share about Energize, pick one benefit. Don't share all of these benefits. Pick one thing and share about that one thing and how that one thing can help them and benefit them. You don't have to share about everything that Shakeology does if you want to share about Shakeology. Pick one benefit and share about that one thing, because this will help people's brains to not get super overwhelmed and then just exit out of your stories. Okay, next thing. Tell me if you feel this way in the chat. You're feeling overwhelmed because Susie does all the things. We know the girl, right? And you can't do it all. Let me know. Do you feel this way? You feel like, oh my gosh, she is doing it all and I cannot. Yes, this is giving me life right now. Okay, here is the deal that I want you to lesson release, okay? 1, if you want to take a day off of posting on your stories, video yourself the day before, and then upload it on your stories. I did this last Saturday. I created a story about creating a morning routine, and I did a screen share video recording so that I could share it to my followers. And I posted that yesterday, and I didn't get any messages from people that were like, did you change your outfit? Because I was wearing a completely different thing. But it's going to give you so much freedom to freaking live your life and not feel like you have to be stuck on your phone posting every single hour of what you're doing every single day. Because honestly, you will get burnout, and I don't want you to. Like, I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, coaching isn't for me because I just feel like I'm always on my phone. We hear that, right? And so act smarter and don't work harder. Video yourself and plan ahead, okay? Second thing that I do that has really helped me is in the morning. Morning time is like the best part of the time for me in the day to be creative. So I use Planoly, and I schedule my posts 2 days in advance. I also, if you're an email girl, I also schedule my emails 1 week in advance. So this week, I wrote the emails for my Flow Desk subscribers. I wrote my emails for next week. So I'm constantly working on something that isn't stressing me out. Like if I didn't finish that email today, I wouldn't have been like, oh my gosh, I need to, send this out to my subscribers. I send an email and I create it for the week before so that I can send it and plan and schedule. So I'm constantly working ahead. So for instance, whenever I plan my posts, all of my posts are from my personal development, all of them. And it's something that has to do with my follower. It has nothing to do with me. I'm actually really tired of talking about myself on social media. And so I'm like, okay, how can I freaking help someone today? So today I posted about the cycle of starting and stopping, and I posted an infographic. And you could go to my Instagram and kind of see what I've been doing recently to talk to my person instead of talk about myself. But also, ask your followers personal questions in the inbox. You guys, this has been so freaking cool for the ghosters, because I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about posting something on my IGTV about planning and scheduling and creating a morning routine. Do you think that that would benefit and serve you? And most of the time, the people that have ghosted me for months respond. And then whenever I do post about that thing, they're going to engage with it because they were a part of that with me. How cool is that? Like, it opens you up to actual connections and conversations with the people that you've invited that have not freaking cared about what you do. And then when they say, oh my gosh, yes, I'm actually going through a lot right now and I have zero time, I would be able to say, well, guess what? We actually do that. We talk through that in my boot camp group. And my next one is actually starting blah, blah, blah day. Would you want more info this time around? That's like a natural conversation, right? So it takes the pressure off of them, it helps them connect with you, and then you can share, this is what we actually talk about in my boot camp group about something other than fitness. So you're probably at this point kind of overwhelmed with all of the new things that you can try, and I want you to know, like, take this like one thing that you could do and implement it tomorrow. Okay, save this call for a day whenever you can really soak it in and do some different things. Yeah, so Sarah, what's really crazy about that is making it generic. I don't get any responses. In my first connection message, if I'm like, hey, thank you so much for connecting, is there anything that you're working through right now on your wellness journey? And no one responds. So I've made it very specific. And so what I love to talk about is mindset and time management and productivity stuff. So I've just been sharing random stuff like how to use Google Keep, how to schedule an email, like things that people probably will use in other careers, and it's not focused on fitness. Okay, let me know if you have no idea what to post. You're like, okay, Abby, this is freaking cool. I'd love to do this, but I have no idea what to post whatsoever. And that's why I don't do it. That's why I'm like the guy who's like looking away because no, like I'm already focused on my wellness journey. How can I do another thing? Okay, let me tell you something that's super cool. That's also going to help you not stress out anymore. Google everything. Research, literally. Google University is the best university ever because you can Google something and learn about the benefit of something and share about it. So one time I just researched how many people work out at home now since COVID happened. And it was like, it gave me percentages and it gave me some statistics. And so I shared about that. Like, you're probably going through something like that. You're not alone by going through a transition. But like I said before, research one ingredient on Shakeology. Talk about one aspect of your boot camp. Whenever you want to talk about your boot camp, don't be like, you get this and this and this and this. Talk about one thing, research about that one thing, learn about that one thing, and share about it and how it can help them. Not how it's helped you. You share about it, how it can help them, and also share testimonials. Okay? Number 2, if you have no idea what to post about, write down what you're learning in your PD when your brain is in a feminine state, so in a creative state. You're not sending invites, you're not messaging back with objection conversations, you're not in that like, okay, I need to show up right now. Whenever you're in a feminine state, a creative state, let's say it's after a workout, film yourself on your camera. Don't feel like you have to post it. Film yourself on your camera or do a voice memo and talk about something that you were feeling in that moment and teach your follower about that. So like, for instance, I know this is weird, but the other day I was thinking about how I cut watermelon. And I was like, you know what? There are probably 50 different ways to cut a watermelon. But the cool part is that we turn to our days, we turn to our lifestyle thinking that we have to come at this day with like a certain way to attack the day or a certain way to attack life. And someone else might cut up their watermelon differently, but that doesn't mean that they're wrong for doing that. So I'm kind of talking to the person that's like, oh, well, she's a part of network marketing now, so I'm going to peace out on that friendship. Who's all been there? We all have. And it's like, no, like, I'm just trying to cut up my watermelon differently today, okay? Nothing wrong with that. And so you can share about little things that come to your mind, and then post about it later. Third thing, sharing your life isn't enough in 2020 on social media. It's not enough anymore, right? Like, there's things that you learned probably if you're a coach and have been a coach for a while. There's things that you learned back in the day, and now those things don't work anymore. And you're like, okay, we have to shift now. Same thing with stories. How is what you provide going to change their life? And focus on them. We have to quit focusing on ourselves because it's just not working anymore. People don't care. Like, people are trying to survive right now, right? People are trying to be safe right now in crisis. They don't care what you're doing today. They care about themselves. They care about surviving the day. They care about what is in it for them. So, how can you help your ideal person? Because I was the person 2 years ago that paid $300 for a Tone It Up meal plan, never used it once. I'm talking to that person, right? So you have to figure out who you are talking to. Okay, so it gets easier from here. I have one last thing that you can, I know you've been writing down some tips and strategies, but if you were to pick of any kind of tip or strategy, it would be from this list. Are you ready? Kid president is the best. Let's do it. Okay. So there are 5 things that you can implement in your business tomorrow, okay? If you don't use a sample move on Instagram, then don't do it. Like, if you don't want to post 5 videos of you working out, then don't do it. Post 1, okay? No one told you to be a successful coach that you have to post every single thing every single day. We know coaches that don't have to do that to be successful. So if you don't want to do it, I'm giving you permission to not. I'm not saying stop showing up on Instagram. I'm saying do the things that you like to see. If you need to film yourself on Monday, save it and post it on Wednesday. Do it. No one cares. No one cares what you wore or if it's that day or the day before. Number 3, get ahead is what a CEO would do. Doing things last minute is what a hobbyist does. Number 4, saves, shares, and comments matter more than likes, period. You could probably go to my Instagram recently and be like, oh, she used to get, 200 plus likes on photos because I just post a photo of myself. But now, since I've turned my content towards other people, I'm getting more shares and more saves than I'm getting likes. And no one can see that, but I can. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of in the right place right now. Number 5, start an email list, okay? The cool thing is that you don't have to be boring with your email lists. You don't have to be like, okay, I have to do my freaking newsletter. That's boring to me. If it's boring to you, it's boring to everyone else. So here is the thing. 10% of your followers see your Instagram posts. 40% of people see your email, and you control your email. So what I do is I reuse my posts and I post them and explain more about them in my email. So if you are like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not starting an email list, I send my emails to everyone. I send them to my current coaches, I send them to my current challengers, and I send them to people that I have their emails for. And what I do is I just repurpose my content that I shared to my email, and I direct them to a video or I direct them to my Instagram post. So you can definitely utilize that as well if you're in a place to do that. So that was a lot, but I am freaking passionate about this because I've been learning about this so much. Literally, if you have a question, I'm going to move up and see if there's any questions. But if you're overwhelmed, that's okay. But I hope that this gave you more permission to not have to talk about yourself all the time. You know what I mean? Because that's just like really not fun. I mean, sometimes it is. I'm not saying don't not talk about yourself, but like, we got to make this about our people, you know? Okay, Lexi, are you talking about seeing your shares and saves?
Yeah, okay. I think I answered it. You just have to have a business account.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I don't know if anyone has anything.
Yeah, that was so good, Abby. Thank you for you're like blowing my mind with all the information. You can totally tell you were a teacher too, which I love, but we have a ton of teachers. So,
yes.
Does anyone have any questions? Or I hate the word overwhelmed, but it was a lot of information. So I think to like take the information and digest and take some tips. I love that you threw the 5 tips back at the end so we can kind of start from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know if you guys remember from the team call a few weeks ago where Megan Geese, where she said, don't do surgery on your business when you get off of a team call. So you don't need to completely overhaul everything. Just like Abby said, take 1 or 2 things and start implementing those things and work from there. Come back to this call. There will always be the recording and be able to use that. But if you guys have any specific questions while Abby was here and we have a few minutes, then that would be good.
I don't have a question, but this was so good. I mean, 2.5 years in, I'm bored with myself. And I feel like lately I have been really struggling with, what do I post about today? Do I post about that? You know, and it's like, starting to going back 2 years and looking at old posts and trying to find something and reposting that sometimes. And I am the queen of, hey friends, I'm an educator too. I'm an assistant principal. So that's what we call our kids. So,
Yes.
Or every morning it's good morning, so I like the idea of thinking about saying something differently in my stories in the morning, because I probably do say the same thing not the same thing, because I really do try to think about what I'm going to talk about the next day, but it's struggling with what am I going to talk about the next day. So this was really good in making me rethink. It's okay to post an infographic. It's okay to post something other than myself or my daughter or stuff like that, because I am getting a little tired of myself. So
For
this
sure.
was really good. A lot of thinking to do moving forward.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that you feel that weight lifted, because I've also hit my 2-year mark, and it is really tiring talking about yourself. And so I think what you're going to find is whenever you say the word you in your stories, you're going to feel so much better about what you do post, because it's all about them, not about yourself, which is really cool. Casey, how often do I send emails to my followers? So in my conversation process, I have an email that I send to anyone who is interested. I use Flowdesk, and I absolutely love it for automations and kind of your workflow. But I send them an email, and then like if you're overwhelmed with the email idea, don't listen to me. But if you're kind of in a place in your business where you can kind of level up in that way, I actually send 2 emails a week. But like I said, it doesn't overwhelm me, because I'm literally using content that I just posted the week before or the week after, or something that I haven't posted yet that I'm going to share on my Instagram that I actually share with my email people first. So I send an email on Monday. That's really like an inspo email. Usually it is a repurposed Instagram post that I just copy and paste email, and then I explain more about it in the email. And then I send one on Friday that's like a story, or I use a GIF or something like that to catch their attention. And I will have a call to action at the end of those. So it's like, if you want to hear more about coaching, press this button or whatever. So I do send 2, but if you're just getting started, I would just send 1 a week, and you can send it to everyone. So that's the relief that I had, is like, I'm sending newsletters, but they're only to my clients. And I had so many other emails that I wasn't utilizing. And so I send every single email to every single person that I have their emails to. And then favorite PD books and podcasts. So the people that have changed the game for me about social media is The Guide Culture. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're freaking amazing. And they basically talk about how if you sell something, you are not an influencer. There's a difference between influencer and salesperson, and you're a salesperson, right? Influencers, they're like, oh my gosh, I love this cup. This cup is so great. I love the colors. And the salesperson is saying, this cup is insulated so it can help your ice stay cold and your drink stay cold, yada, yada, yada. So they're amazing. And they're 2 young girls. Actually, both of them were in network marketing, and now they help people stuff being salesy. Jordan, I get people's emails through direct message. So I don't, the like email box thing never works for me. Basically, polls for me are more of a connection tool rather than a call to action tool. And I get people's emails through DMs. So my process is send over your email and I'll send you some info. In that email, it actually has my link to a challenge pack. So they're actually saying, oh my gosh, this actually costs money. Because I want people to be like, okay, this girl has a business, right? So I send them the information through email, and then I say, okay, you should be getting an email. Now tell me what you feel like you're missing in your journey right now. And then they tell me, and then we kind of talk details. You're welcome. Anything else?
I have a question.
Rebecca, what?
Okay, I have a question. So
Yeah.
I know this has been gone over and over, and I just struggle super hard with it. I started in February, and I started with, "Hey, girl," like that has been my go-to. I do not do the relationships. I've tried it. It doesn't work. I suck at it. I'm just gonna say it. The "Hey, girl" has seriously been like my there, but it's not working no more. So I need to do the relationships, but how do you do that? Like I've gone to pages, I've gone to things that I like different shows that I watch, and I've done those things, but I'm still having a hard time connecting with those people that follow me back from those specific things.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. 2 things. Okay. I felt like I was constantly trying, same thing with clients. I was constantly trying to like push, get new people, get new people, get new people. And I wasn't loving and actually serving my current people. Okay. Game changer. Last month, I was like, I recruited 6 girls to my boot camp, and I literally check in with them every Thursday. Those people that got in last month, I am checking in with them weekly. So honestly, for me, yes, I want to recruit and I want to do all of these things, but I feel like as there's kind of a problem with recruit, la 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 la, and then you don't serve those people. So kind of the same thing with ghosting. I felt like I was trying to recruit new followers and be like, okay, I need to go out and connect with new people and have new people follow me, which is important. But I needed to reestablish my connection with my current followers without being like, how is your dog? Okay. So that's why, because for me, I'm a let's get to the point kind of person. Like, I don't care if your dog is a mixed dog or an adopted dog or whatever. We're dog moms, that's great. So I always ask a question to those people that I want to re-engage with, that watch my stories every day, that don't respond to my invites. I want to reestablish that connection with them. So that's why I am asking them a question to help me with my content. And then if I go to those accounts where I'm connecting with new people, something that I actually really feel like helps is going to their page and, liking a few photos, commenting on one, following them, and then actually sending them a direct message and being like, hey, found you over on Joanna Gaines' Instagram. I love Joanna Gaines too, just like you. How are you doing with like COVID and whatever? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I will say that Instagram right now, like I track it actually. I think I gained last month, okay? I track it every Sunday. Last month, I had gained almost 30 new followers, but literally since yesterday, I've lost 20 of those. So it's just like, yeah, you're gonna gain followers, you're gonna lose followers. So for me, I just really want to re-engage with those people that are ghosting me. that makes sense.
Yeah, and think about people, like, how many people don't watch your stories? Like, how many followers do you have? 200 followers and 60 people that watch your stories. How can you re-engage? Go through your followers list and ask them, like, hey, what would you like to see? Like, I know she said don't do as generic, but so figure out, like, hey, if I'm going to post this week about this, ask them, you know, if I posted about this, would that benefit you or whatever? Re-engage with those people.
For sure. Yeah, and I think, like, I always heard that and I was like, okay, like, what do I say? I like your shoes. So what's been really good is like, wow, I can talk to them, ask them a question, and post about something that's going to help them and make it be purposeful. Like, because people that have other companies, like I follow a girl who helps girls with skin in a whole way. She's probably DMs being like, oh, I like your shoes, to like re-engage with someone, right? She's like, hey, I'm going to post about this product that I use. Is there a product that you use right now that you don't really know if it's benefiting your skin or not? So do you see the difference of that? Like, purposeful, and then like, what's the point of this kind of thing?
Abby, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm like brand new, like just signed up 2 days ago. And I've reached out to quite a few people like since then. But my issue is like, so I've been looking at my stories and my posts and seeing who's like watching them repetitively. And that's how I'm deciding like who to contact. And some of these people are ones that like, I mean, I'm going to be 29. I haven't talked to since high school. And it's like, this is kind of awkward, but I don't want to miss the opportunity. So I'm trying to start with like genuine conversation, but I can't help but feel like there is that ulterior motive in the back of my mind. And so it's like, do I make this a multi-part conversation where like today we talk about this and then I kind of revisit them in a few days, a few weeks, something like that? Or like, what do you think is the best approach with people who you really haven't in a long time?
For sure. I think that that's why there's such a negative mindset towards network marketing, because people don't know how to have conversations, and it just gets really weird, right? And so I want to kind of give you that release of pressure of like, okay, there's really not a perfect way to do it, but whatever way feels good to you, you should do that. So if you're like, oh my gosh, if I reach out to this person and they're like, why is she asking me about my dog, for instance, or something like that, and you feel weird about that, you have a weird energy about that, people are going to feel that in return. So, I mean, for you, like, think about one thing that you do on on autopilot. Think about one thing that you do in your life on autopilot, whether that is your morning routine, whether that is what you eat for lunch while you're at work, whether that is a dinner recipe that you use. I want you to post about that tomorrow on your stories. And then I want you to re-engage with those people that are watching and be like, hey, I hope that you saw that recipe that I posted. I hope that you really enjoyed it. Do you like seeing, recipes, things like that? And obviously, if you know them, be like, so happy to connect again. I hope that you're doing well. I posted about this recipe. Hope you saw it. Did that help you at all? Yada, yada.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm excited for you.
Cool. Well, it is just about 9:30, so unless you have any other little tips or tidbits you want to leave us with, Abby, then cool. Well, we are so appreciative of you coming on and sharing with us, and just thank you for taking time out of your night. It was so good, and I know so many people are going to have stuff to take away and come back to the recording too. So We appreciate it. Everyone tell her thank you. Yeah, in the chats. And everyone have a great rest of your Thursday night and a great weekend.
Of course.
Bye, ladies.